Hello guys and welcome to the Shin Hantang Pro League. This is week 6 and I'm your caster Kix for today as always, and it's a Wednesday evening. Wasn't any cast this Monday. Now that is because there was a little bit of sad news and the fact that SKA and SKB for at least the time being have disbanded, so kind of a bit up in the air about that. So there was no 6th match this week, so I thought I'd split up into 2 days rather than do 3. So there'll be 2 matches today and 3 on Wednesday, on Friday even. I got my days completely mixed up, but some pretty cool matches coming to you today. We're going to start with Red versus pSi, and then we're going to move on to Seoul versus IRK, so that should be a lot of fun as well. Let's head on over to the overlay and let's get started with introducing the first 2 teams. It's been 5 days since I last did this, so everything's going to be a little bit messed up. But as you can see, we're going to start with Red versus Psi Storm. Now, Red are very close to making it into the playoffs, especially with the surprise disqualification, well, not disqualification, but disbandment of SK Alpha. So this is going to be a very, very important match for Red. If they can win their last 2 games, I think they may actually make it to the playoffs. So going to be very important for them. They've been relying a lot on their Zergs, as you can see, but also their other races doing pretty well as well. Now, Psi Storm, unfortunately, they will not be joining us in the first round of playoffs, but they've still got another couple of games to go. But they will have a walkover next week, unfortunately, due to the disbandment of SK Bravo. So they will at least finish with 1 win, but can they make it 2? Now, of course, this is only round 1. There is a lot of time and a lot of games to go before we reach the grand finals near the end of the year, so lots of games to be played. Now let's have a look at what maps are going to be played on today. We're going to start with Grand Line SE, and whoops, I made that way too big. Let's pretend that didn't happen. So starting with Grand Line SE, moving on to Neo Moonglaive, going on to Judgment Day, moving to Sincho Pengryung, and New Empire of the Sun finishes off. A lot of the really cool maps today, and should be really cool to see this. Now, if you have only just tuned in for the first time, the maps will be changing on round 2. This is week 6 of 7 of the group stage of round 1, so we're almost in the first set of playoffs, so that should be a lot of fun. Okay, so just to kind of explain, it's a little bit awkward, but basically SK Bravo and SK Alpha have lost a lot of players, so it's kind of unsure what the future of them are, but we're certainly going to be trying to get that sorted ready for the next round. Hopefully, if they can't form 2 teams, they can maybe try and form 1 again, but then again, it's also going to depend on what people want as well. So, kind of understandable why it happened. There was a big thread on TL, it was a little bit of a controversy there, but hopefully it's all fine now and people can move on and we can all get going with some Brood War. And the matches we're going to see today are fischei versus Cold, Eriador versus Praise, Ku versus Mitak, and Warrior versus Grast. And then if we do make it to the Ace match, we will of course have that as well. And the first players were actually, let's have a look at the table. Now the table, a little bit messy because SK Alpha will not be going to the playoffs, so that means the top 2 teams so far for Group A are going to be Net Wars with 3 wins, 1 loss, and DM with 3 wins, 1 loss as well. Now Red are hot on their tails. They're on 2 for 2 at the moment, and with 2 wins, if Net Wars or DM do win or do lose a couple of games, Red can project themselves into the playoffs. Now Group B hasn't changed that much. In Group B, Seoul and Seoul are still top. IRK and White Clan are still tied for 2nd place, and this is going to be IRK's chance today to move ahead of the competition as in White Clan, and let's see if they can do it. But first of all, of course, we are going to be following Red versus Psi Storm, and the first games we're going to be seeing today are Red fischei versus Psi Storm Cold. So it's going to be a PvZ. It's going to be on Judgment Day, which we're about to have a look at as well. But fischei doing a pretty good job for his team so far. Cold doing a pretty good job as well. He did have a very, very heartbreaking CBT against Radley last week where he got nuked about 8 times. And I mean, he killed all of Radley's bases, but Radley took the islands on New Empire of the Sun. Well worth a watch. Such a good game, but still, really, really cool game. Now let's have a look at the map they're going to be playing on. You may have seen this before if you've been tuning in. It's not Judgment Day, in fact. It is Grand Line SE. Now, Grand Line SE, a very cool map. 4 players, 4 corners, mineral-only natural thirds. There are 2 islands at 9 and 3 o'clock, which do offer a gas expansion, and at 6 and 12 as well. So, not really all that much gas on this map. There's only... I mean, realistically, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gas bases across the whole map, which, to be honest... Oh, sorry, not 8. I forgot the naturals. So there's 12 gas bases, 4 mineral-onlys, and a very cool middle setup. So let's jump into this first game. Let's see how this is going to play out. And let's get started with today's STPL. Okay. It's been a while since I've done this. I know it's only been like a 5-day break, but you know what? It's kind of insane how crazy that, or how much of a difference that makes. But here we go, starting us off in the bottom left position, which I've got the positions wrong on the overlay somehow. It is going to be the White Protoss fighting for red. It's going to be fischei. And his opponent spawning up in the top right position is going to be the Green Protoss, or Green Zerg even, fighting for pSi. It's going to be cold. I mean, his name feels almost out of place at the moment in the UK, because it's been actually quite hot recently. Although seeing that, it's got quite chilly. This is probably because he's playing... It's been such a weird situation in the UK weather. It's been raining so much, and you genuinely have no idea what to do when you're out and about. But it doesn't matter too much. Position should be updated, and vitality. Or wait, did I say that right? Vitally. I am from England, so or Great Britain or Europe, as I like to say, because yeah. I don't know. I'm European. I don't class myself as British anymore. I've lost that, but no politics. This is a nice, friendly stream. It is going to be some Brood War. Of course, there's been a lot of cool Brood War action recently with the ASL, with lots of other tournaments like the BSL as well. And now, just to give it a quick shout out, there is another BSL cast tomorrow, which I will be playing in. So do tune in if you want to see me play. I'm not the best player. I've got a lot to learn, and I've been playing for a very long time, so it does get a little bit depressing sometimes, but you know what? Brood War's a hard game, and hopefully these 2 players here are going to show a much better game series than I ever can. Now, of course, they are best of 5. If you've not seen the STPL before, each series between the teams is a best of 5. Of course, it's going to be 5 best of 1s, so this game is for all the marbles. It's not going to be like a best of 3, best of 5, which we are going to see a little bit later on in the playoffs, but that's going to be a best... Okay, I'm going to have to explain that when we get to it, because it's really hard to explain without making it obvious. Written down, it's even hard to explain, but if you ever saw the Shinhan Bank Pro League in 2010, or any of the subsequent ones or previous ones, you will recognize the format as soon as you see it. So, should be fairly cool to explain. Now, unfortunately, I think I may have run out of Maturino codes, so I mean, do give the code a try if you want to. I'm not sure if there's any left. I need to speak to Maturino, see if I can get some more. But the prize pool is currently sat at $914, 70 cents, I think, which is an insane amount, and should be really cool to sort of dish out at the end of the grand final. One of the things I did say before, but just to go back to the game, we actually have Cold taking his third base, not another natural. Going to be looking to be a little bit more aggressive. Going to take that base in the 12 o'clock position. That does allow him to build Hydras, get them across the map a little bit quicker. But it does hamstring his effort to try and get an early 4th base if he does want to. Which is why I do say that it's more likely to be some kind of some kind of early aggression. Now we do have fishei going with the gateway expand, going to get a core relatively quickly here, not going to opt to go for 2 gates or anything like that. That would fully wall him in, so he'd have to be very careful doing that. Looks like the probe did actually go down to the Zerglings as well. And other than that, they are just starting to get ready, starting to move forward into the game. Cold going for a fairly quick lair off of the back of his 3 hatcheries. Not going to see any kind of crazy Hydralisk bust play or anything like this off of the 3 bases. But Cold being incredibly careful here, just going to send a Ling up here, making sure there's no cannons building over here. She'll probably check over here because she can actually build that. And there we go, he's going to go and double check because, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but hatcheries have an insanely low vision range, so you can cannon rush them from quite far away, and as long as you sort of attack the pylon or some with a cannon for a bit, you can let them finish it. And here we go, a second probe is now in the main, does manage to sneak past. Looks like what he did do was right click on the minerals with another probe, but unfortunately that's going to be chased away fairly quickly as well, and he's not going to get too much information. Now, he does have a Zealot coming in. This is going to mean these poor Zerglings are going to be completely out of position, and there's no Sunken Colony here either. Looks like we are going to have a 4th and 5th hatchery added pretty quickly for Cold, but fishei could do a lot of damage with this one Zealot. The drones have been pulled immediately. He goes for a nice drill on top of them, and that is very, very nice. But he does still lose 1 drone. Won't lose another though by the looks of it, and doesn't actually lose any Zerglings, so really, really nicely done there by Cold. Really hard to pull off as well, so quite impressive to see that here. And fishei, meanwhile, looks like he's going to be adding on a Stargate, which he has done, +1 air attack, and we're going to see a Citadel coming straight up after this. So it's likely going to be Corsair DTs. Of course, we can have Corsair High Templar as well, but that's, I mean, DTs are sort of the Bisu follow-up, I guess. Takes a lot of APM to really make use of it. fishei is sitting around 180 APM, so not overly high, but Cold is doing the same. So as long as he can pull the Zerg out of position, get rid of these Overlords, he may be able to do a lot of damage. Now, of course, he can go straight into High Templar if he is worried about some kind of Hydralisk bust. That's another very powerful option he can go through. But it looks like it likely will be DTs here, trying to sort of focus off that, and I do apologize. Looks like only 1 drone did actually go down, so no crazy amounts of damage going here, but the drones have been pulled away. Possibly pulled away a little bit too far, but there we go. Zealot going down once again. Cold is getting some really, really nice Zergling surrounds here. It looks like we finally do have the Hydros in play. Hydro speed coming in as well. But it doesn't look like there's any Hydros. He could lose a lot of Overlords here. Now trying to spread them, gonna make it a little bit harder. But it looks like Cold may... Oh, sorry, fishei, not going to be too greedy. Does know there probably is going to be some kind of anti-air coming out very shortly. But I don't actually think he's got a spy. Yes, he does. I'm completely blind. There we go. These 2 Scourge should be enough to chase these away. Just to make sure he doesn't lose anything crazy. He needs to make sure his Corsair count is constantly increasing. Can't really afford to lose any early on. That's one of the ways you can actually get completely destroyed in PvZ. But one thing that fishei needs to be careful of is his wall isn't great. We do have one of the... Whoa, how the hell did that Scourge hit that Corsair? That was like the longest reaching Scourge ever. But you know what, really, really nicely done by Cold. Does get a little bit of damage off on the Corsairs. Is going to start macroing up off of those 5 hatcheries. And he will of course start to add on his upgrades. And looks like he's just for now going to sit sort of outside the bases. He's started to drone up at this 12 o'clock base. Now, of course, there is only 6 mineral fields, but it is a full gas, guys, and not a half gas or anything like that. So that's going to be pretty good. It's actually the same as the main and natural, which is why the lack of the 4th gas base isn't too much of a big deal early on. But here we go. Nice Scourge connection again. Does hit one of those, I think. Yeah, may have done just about. Yeah, I think it hit this one. So that's going to be pretty good for Cold. Now, this game is getting a little bit passive here while both players do sort of feel each other out. We do have a decent number of Zealots going to be moving across the map. Going to see the Scourge. So these Corsair are going to be perfectly happy moving in. But finally we do have some Hydros back here to defend. Now, is this going to be enough damage coming in from the Zealots to actually take this out? There is no Sunken Colony here. One of the Overlords goes down again. Once again, supply blocking Cold here, which is a pretty big deal. and some of the Zealots actually getting pulled off to try and stop some of the reinforcing Hydralisks coming in. And these drones are completely free reign for the Zealot, doing a lot of damage here. Hydralisk getting Cold getting taxed a little bit on his multitasking, and fischei is doing a very, very good job trying to move in from multiple angles, trying to get some damage done where he can. And here we see the Dark Templar finally have been activated. Now there is currently no detection over at this base, so these DTs could do a lot of damage. Overlord speed, of course, has been finished up, so it is going to allow him to be able to do something with that. Now, kind of interesting that he's sending a DT to each base. Now, of course, that does become a little bit more efficient, but with a Spore outside the front and some Hydralisks, they should be able to deal with this. But here we go. Corsairs moving in, checking for any Overlords. There are none, and this DT is going to do a lot of damage if Cole does not realize. If you don't know, you don't actually get a damage notification if a drone dies to a DT, as it does die in one hit, and that's 3 kills already, 4 kills. Can he get the 5th, 6th, and 7th? Yes, he can. The Spore colony's finished, but I think this DT could actually take that down before that happens. And more Corsairs are going in, trying to get more and more Overlords, but finally, the Corsair count is starting to falter, and he needs to be careful. He's going to go for the Overlords up here, but it looks like Cold gonna go for the all-in in response to this. Is not going to go and try and defend his base. He knows that it's going to be very difficult to do this. He does need to take down this Spore immediately. Oh, but this CT is probably going to go down. Looks like he's going to try and get a few more drones there. Really, really nicely done. And the Corsair count has been completely cut in half. And fischei is looking to be contained in his base. Of course, he does have High Templar. They will have Psionic Storm incredibly quickly, or incredibly soon even, if they don't have it already. And that will allow him to start cleaning up these lurkers. But it's going to be quite difficult. Cold is doing a really good job splitting these lurkers the best he can. So it makes it a little bit harder, but this +1 upgrade could possibly go down if Cold decided to push in. Although it looks like it may finish. This one lurker is not going to be enough to deal with this. I'm going to morph a few more lurkers out here as well, just to try and consolidate this this contain. And fischei going to move in for a scout once again. Now, when these extra lurkers come in, this is going to be a little bit more difficult for fischei. Now, I'd love to point out if that was a Marine, it would have died ages ago. But is this +1 upgrade going to finish? Is Cold going to try and jump on this? Yes, he is. And he's going to stop the +1 upgrade. This is so, so huge. Really, really nice target firing by him there. And gets the gateway as well. So, how many gateways do we have in the Protoss base? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gateways. 1 Stargate at the moment. And I mean, this is a lot of High Templar, a lot of Zealots. But, oh, that was actually the +2 upgrade, my mistake. So the +2 upgrade going to be delayed a hell of a long time. We should have another forge coming in the main. And yeah, we do. We actually have a second forge started already. We'll get that +2 upgrade as soon as he possibly can. But that is such a big moment for Cold to try and take some momentum in this game. He has such a strong contain right now. This is a very, very small area for Protoss to try and attack out of. Now the only thing that Cold's missing right now is mass expanding. He needs to try and take some more positions on the map. He does have the ability to do so. He knows that fischei is still only on 2 bases, and that his upgrades are going to be incredibly delayed here. Now, one thing that would actually be quite good for Cold to do is maybe to actually ferry over to the island. I know island's not as easy for Zerg to hold on to, especially in PvZ. When we do start seeing Reavers and stuff coming in, it becomes very difficult to hold on to those. But here we go, the Observer is out. Can he snipe this with his Hydralisk? It looks like he's going to go for it, but there's going to be a big storm on top of a lot of Hydralisks there. And they pull back just in the nick of time, but does lose quite a lot of them. But the Dragoons have done quite a lot of damage, taken a lot of damage in turn though. Does lose 3 Dragoons, not the best of trades for him, but his supply is steadily going up. And still no 4th base attempt yet by Cold. Looks like he is just going to continue trying to add on the upgrades, add on the units. And here we go, looks like fischei going to be going for another bust. Dragoons, of course, do outrange lurkers, I believe. Although it's looking like they either don't have range or they're the same range, so... You know what, this is actually a big mistake. He's not storming. There we go. Finally a storm does go down. Incredibly late, though. And unfortunately for fischei, he does lose a lot more goons there than he needed to. And now, interestingly, the Zealot's being kept really far back. He's not really too sure how many lurkers there are. Does lose his Berserker out the front as well. And interestingly, we see Cold going for that 4th base there, which is kind of crazy because it is a mineral only. But he is in a pretty good spot. He's just killed all of the Corsairs of fischei. But this is the moment that could change the tide of the game. We do have a 4 Zealot drop coming into the main. What is he going to go for? Looks like he's had to look away for just a second. And his drop is not going to really do too much. Such amazing Hydralisk kills and Lurker kills on those Dragoons there. And once again, fischei's army count is slowly getting reset every time. But here we go, the Zealots coming in a little bit late, but do finally get into the base. Now, how much damage can he do? How quickly is Cold going to react? Looks like he's reacted pretty quick, but his tech is going to be a little bit vulnerable for a second here. But no, here we go. The Hydralisks are coming back to defend this. Not a lot of movement from Cold's army at the front. He knows he's in a good position, and he is going to hold on to that the best he can. Now, would really be nice to see fischei going for some kind of tech here. Looks like he will do. He does have +2 attack. And once again, it looks like we're going to have fischei trying to break out while Cold's attention is diverted. But he's just losing so many Dragoons every time he pushes out of here. And his minerals and his main and his natural are going to be going down. He is in a very, very bad spot right now. It would actually be good for him to take the island. I know I said that for the Zerg player before, but really, really nice storm. Actually getting his own observer though, and the other observer does go down. So even though he does have nice storms, he has nothing to detect the Lurkers again. So he's going to be forced to move back once more, back into his natural now. Let's actually have a look at his main. His main is very close to Mind Out. Natural, like 2/3, 3/4 of the way done as well. And I mean, fischei is doing a good job holding on, but he's not really doing that much damage. He killed the Spire, which is a big pick-off. Doesn't get the lair, so he's not going to be able to stop the Hive attempt. And I mean, fischei, or Cold, is in just such a good position still. Looks like fischei has decided this is the moment I have to move out. I have to break. He gets a really nice storm. But does he even have any observers? Yes, he does. Just the one, though. Looks like another nice storm going on top of that. Lurker going to allow a single Zealot to run up and punch it. And he is breaking out really, really nicely. Really, really nicely broken by fischei. But needs to be careful. He's taking a lot of damage back here. He doesn't have any armor upgrades. And finally does take that down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Protoss armies are a little bit stronger than Terran. Because one Terran bull would have died to all those Lurkers without Scan standing on top of the Lurker. But you know what? It's PvZ. PvZ is a lot of fun as well. But yeah, that was actually a really, really nice breakout by fischei. That'll allow him to take an extra base. Looks like he's going to start distance mining from this third now while he tries to build the Nexus. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea when he's mined out of his main. He may as well do something with the probes. But fischei looks like he's going to go for the counter. Cold may be hurt here by the fact he didn't mass expand. And I mean, this is one of the only mining bases for Cold right now. His natural is going to be dried up very soon. And Cold is going to have to push up around his supply blocks. This could be a huge, huge moment. A huge counterattack by fischei. A huge storm going down on all of the Hydralisks. And Cold could lose one of his only mining bases right now. And that would be such a turnaround in this series. Now, fischei does not have enough for any storms on his High Templar, but there is no Overlord here. This DT is going to do so much damage, and the third base is going to go down when these units go down. fischei does have his third base up now, and Cold is about to lose his third and fourth hatcheries, and this is going to be huge. Some more Hydras have spawned. They have spawned directly into Dragoon Focus Fire, and he is in such a terrible, terrible position. He's nearly 70 supply behind now. And I mean, with his third base gone, that's his third gas. And where is he going to mine from? Of course, he does still have about 2/3 left in his natural, and just a little bit more in his main, but his third base is barely mining. Oh, it's his now third base even. And he is in a pretty terrible position. Looks like we do have some Hydras going after this shuttle. Oh, can they get it? It needs one more hit. This is so huge if this gets away. And he does not have shuttle speed. This is so close. But looks like fischei will get away with this with his shuttle's life. And here we go. More and more units are streaming in for fischei. fischei's macro doing pretty good. Does have his third base up and mining now. And the final units of Cold look like they may actually go down. And this could be the turnaround of the century in this game. and fischei has done a brilliant job. A huge storm drop on the drones of the natural, and GG! fischei will take out Cold in the first game.